And now it's a walk down memory lane. This is my favorite segment of the podcast. I'm talking, of course, about the Android Journey story. If you're a listener and would like to come on live and talk about your Android Journey story, but would rather record and send it to us, then contact us via email at contactus@blindandroidusers.com. And now, here's this week's episode guest to talk about their Android Journey story. And let's conclude our episode now with our Android Journey segment. And of course, this is my favorite segment of the episode. Devin, my man, you are here to tell us about that journey. Go ahead and take us down that memory lane of yours, our Android journey, and when you got started and the rocky paths you had to go through and how you felt. I know you had it for a while, and for a while you ran back to the Fruitvale and then came back, and finally something got you back on here. Tell us about that, Devin, would you?
Oh, right. So my first ever phone was the Samsung Sway, and it was a dumb phone, and it barely read out anything, um, and so I got really started with phones on that. I learned how to email my phone number as a text, and how to forward emails to my text messages through texting my phone number. That was fun. And so during all that, I was learning, the basics of computers as well. And then I went on to the Samsung Stratosphere. So I started out with Samsung phones. Now the Stratosphere was a keyboard phone. It had a little pull-out keyboard that and it ran Android 2.3 up to 2.3.6, and so I ran TalkBack on it, Eyes Free Shell, and eventually came to the mobile accessibility, which was a suite of programs, a bit like Keysoft, that ran on the phone, and basically, was a shell of its own. And so that was great, a great time. And then I went to iPhones. I got an iPhone 6, and then an iPhone 10R, and then I decided to go with a Pixel at some point, and so I got the original Pixel, and so I experienced Inbox, the Inbox app, and the TalkBack version 8, I believe. Well, it was Android 8 when they added the fingerprint gestures and all that cool stuff. And so it was good, but there were a few things that I was missing, and one of those was typing in Braille on my phone without having to download a bunch of different apps. And honestly, at that point, like, I was still trying to apply iOS ideas to Android, and so that wasn't working out very well for me, because if you try to continue doing things the iOS way, you're going to stick with default apps, and that's not going to be very fun, usually. And so years later, I had an iPhone SE 2020, and it only had like 64 gigs of storage because um, a kind of government grant. Well, it wasn't a government program. It was anyway. The organization gave it to me, and so I then had an Android Samsung S20 FE, and I liked that phone. I liked it, but again, there were just a few things that like my NLS e-reader doesn't didn't work with it, um, and stuff like that, and uh, so then I got a Pixel phone, and it was at this point in my life that I really um, I was really kind of getting closer to getting into Android full time, and so I got a Pixel phone, and it was okay, but it was really sluggish. Well, not really sluggish, but it was noticeably sluggish to me. And um mainly like when I switched to eSpeak, um things were better, but I knew that, you know, that it could be better. I knew that Android phones could be better than this, and it was a Pixel 8. I'm sorry. I had a Pixel 8 at the time, and so I was also really trying to get into the TalkBack beta program because, on iOS I was so used to just being able to uh, uh, update to an beta version of iOS and get the latest beta version of VoiceOver. And so I updated to Android 15 beta, and I was like, well, where's the 15 beta version of TalkBack? And so um, I was kind of discouraged at the time because I really wanted to, test more of TalkBack's Whale support and try to help things move along, and because that's, I've always done that with iOS. I've always um, used the beta, gave feedback, and sometimes my feedback was valuable enough to be noticed and fixed. And so, um, uh, uh, but um, the main issue for me was the latency, the lagginess of the Pixel 8. And so um, last this no, it was February of this year. I got so last year, yeah, last year I got a an iPhone 16, and it's a good phone. It's still boring iOS, and so I mean it just like it felt like all the other iPhones. And so I'm just like, well, this is the best iPhone you can get, and it's still pretty much the same thing. Like it's still like it's got Apple Intelligence, and it's a tad bit helpful, but like voiceover descript image descriptions are still just the same as they were 30 years ago, and that's just sad. And so I got a OnePlus 13 this February, and so besides helping people with iPhone at work or getting rid of subscriptions on the App Store, I haven't touched my iPhone since. And so the OnePlus 13 is it's a really good phone. It does have a few issues. The biggest one being the fingerprint instructions are always move up, and so I had to get used to where the fingerprint reader is. But as soon as I did, I mean, that was it. I mean, the only thing I have left to do is to turn off iMessage on my phone, so that hopefully uh, people's iMessage texts go to my number, even though I disassociated my number with the iPhone. Uh, Who knows? But I'm just too lazy to grab my iPhone and turn it on and deal with voiceover. And the crazy thing is, after I used the OnePlus 13 for a few weeks and came back to the iPhone 16, I'm like, wow, why is voiceover so sluggish? And it wasn't that it was that much, that it was worse, like, as in, grabbing, the lowest, spec, Samsung phone, but it was just, like, noticeably slower, like, to use. And so now I'm just like, well, I figured it out. I mean, and some of the things that I love about Android, um, is that, uh, so if you get an app that, um, someone has made, like, a Braille keyboard or a third-party screen reader, like CSR, or you know, any number of things. You can just install it, and Google will scan the app with Play Protect, and it'll it might not be 100% you know accurate, but you can reasonably be sure that if you're not doing getting something off a very shady website, then you're pretty well safe. And so you can install different accessibility services and uh, stuff like that, and Google doesn't stop you, and that's really nice because um, I also play video games, and so um, uh, the ones that I can play, you can play them on your phone, not just your computer. And Apple has even given in and started allowing video game console programs on the App Store. And so you can do a little bit of that on the iPhone now, except Apple doesn't allow them to go as fast as I can. So you can't play anything more modern than a PlayStation. So Android has PlayStation 2 and GameCube and Wii, all these game systems that the iPhone does not have and probably won't have for another few years. And so, um, uh, and another thing, you know, the image descriptions that TalkBack has are really, really good. So if you're on Reddit and you find a meme, um, I have TalkBack set to, if I tap and hold with three fingers, it will describe that image or that item. And so it's it just gives me a wider idea of visual content. And so I mean, you can get that on iOS if you do a screenshot and send that to Seeing AI or stuff like that. But I mean, who really wants to do all that? So um, it's really nice, and my hope now is that eventually I can get into the Talkback beta program and help out there, and um, maybe one day Pixels will be fast enough for me to pick one up and uh, you know uh, be fully in the Google ecosystem because I mean it's really nice. And I can also text on my computer and get notifications on my computer without having to buy a $1,000 Mac that has an inferior screen reader to anything that's on Windows. So it's just it's very positive without that many negatives these days. And as Braille support continues to improve and uh, uh, image descriptions and stuff like that continue to improve, I think the negatives will continue to shrink until blind people seriously have no more excuses to have all their eggs in Apple's basket because Apple is just Apple is going to control what they can and cannot do with their devices. And as people with disabilities, we need all the control that we can get. Like if we need our own screen reader or our own Braille driver or our own whatever, we should be able to make that and distribute that and do what we want with our devices because we are not the normal everyday population and companies should understand that. But uh, so that is my Android journey, and I'm so happy that I finally found a phone that agrees with me uh, as far as speed and power and without too many downsides.
Wonderful, Devin. Great story there. And you talked about the fingerprint reader and all that gesture. It's one of those things that I missed with the regular capacitive fingerprint reader because it gave us additional methods of interacting with the phone. You know, you could swipe down to do something, swipe up, or swipe left or right on that fingerprint to do certain things. Of course, we don't have those capacitive fingerprint readers anymore, and but that was one of the good things that we had back then. And I'm glad, you know, the OnePlus, you know, made it possible for you to finally, you know, put your Fruitvale device to the side and now be on the bright side and looking at that OnePlus. So one more plus there, and we added one more there. So OnePlus, kudos to OnePlus for adding another plus to it. Thank you so much for this great story. And like I said, this is always my favorite segment of the episode whenever we have someone come on to talk about their Android journey story. And this has been great. And all of that stratosphere that you started with, Samsung's always reaching for the skies or for the zodiac or the solar system stratosphere. And then you have the galaxy. So there you are. And I'm glad you are here with us on OnePlus, which in my never to be humble opinion is a great device.
And I think we all learned a good lesson here, and that's that pixels are too slow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
don't know.
it really depends on the person. I mean, I don't blame Warren for using pixels, and you know, I mean, I wish that I had the patience to just deal with it,
No,
but
I
Yeah.
I
understand.
sadly
Yeah.
cannot.
I just had to pick on Warren in the absence of Ed. But
Yeah.
if
I
I'm being
know.
honest,
I know where he was going.
yeah, if I'm being honest, I could use a Pixel. Like it's not, especially a Pixel 9 series device. I could use it. It's fine. That's enough for me. But I do notice a difference. Like if I'm using a Pixel, it doesn't feel slow to me. But then when I pick up a OnePlus and I
You
start
can
using it,
feel
I'm
it.
like, wow, this is faster.
Yeah,
Well,
you can
I
feel it.
wasn't like, this isn't fast enough, you know. So, I mean, the Pixels
Yeah,
have
yeah.
gotten a little better over the years.
And
I haven't
there's no
used
question.
a
I
Pixel.
mean, Snapdragon will always have an edge over, unless, of course, Google does something different. But in its current state that we have, the Tensor chip is no match for the Snapdragon. So no question there. No question.
Yeah, and I haven't used the Pixel 9 before, so I've only used the 8.
Yeah, but this is one of the reasons why Android is great because just imagine, if it was all that you had was, iPhone, the Fruitvale, you can change it. If there's something you don't like about it, there's no way to change that. And so you've been through different other devices and finally found the one that really, suits you. And that's what I like about Android because if you don't like the Samsung, there's another one out there. Give it a try. So I really like it. It will be so boring if everything was the same.
So I have two questions. First, regarding the sluggishness. Well, it's a known fact, unfortunately, that TalkBack is a resource-intensive app, and it's not really well optimized for like mid-rangers. And it's good that Google is being fair here, and it's not even working well on Pixels, which should be considered as high-end devices. So it's good from Google. That's well. But the question here is regarding typing. You were talking about the sluggishness, and now you feel like iPhone is less responsive than your high-end OnePlus 13, which is good. But usually we suffer while typing when using TalkBack. So what's your preferred method of typing? And so because if you are using Gboard and you are feeling like typing on Android is better than typing on iPhone, it's something that's really strange for me, because actually I don't use iPhone, but like I'm not an iPhone user, but when I need to, or when I type on iPhones, I feel like those guys have something really good. So I envy them. They're really having something great with respect to typing. Okay, forget about the number row that they didn't know how to add to the main keyboard, but like it's a good experience. So what's your preferred method of typing?
So I use the TalkBack Braille keyboard, and I use a Braille display to type. So that's why I don't have that issue.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's really good.
This explains it.
Yeah. And like I said, though, even on, like, if I use Gboard on my Samsung S23 Plus, I notice it more responsive than, compared to when doing it on my Pixel device. So like I said, again, it's that chip that makes all that difference, really. So I'm glad we have options out there that one could, turn to should something not really work the way that they wanted it to. So I'm glad to see you on here, Devin, because you're a great guy. We just now need to find you a squeeze. That's then make the story complete.
Okay, so now I want to ask you another question. You stated once, I think, in the group that you're working on something like a guide, I think, for people who are switching from iPhone or from iOS to Android. So is this still a thing?
It takes time.
Yeah, but have you are you giving up the idea, or what's?
My issue is that I don't know when to stop. So I I really hope it doesn't turn into a big long book. And I think I've got at least most of it done, and it should be ready sometime. I'd say within 2 weeks, but to give myself some wiggle room. And so, but yeah, I'm definitely working on it, and yeah, it hopefully will be helpful.
That's a great project, by the way. I'm a long time Android user. I'm not going to switch to iPhone, but I think that it's something great to have such guide for people who are willing to switch from iOS to Android, and who want to have something which makes things easier on them. And here is another question. It's not really for the podcast. Just where are you planning to publish this guide?
Yeah, that.
Well,
indirect
why
way.
would y'all ask such a question?
Kareem, you're good.
Of course, I would publish it on accessible Android as long as
There
it
you go.
accepts Markdown.
I asked it to hear this answer actually.
Yeah. You're great. You're great.
Well,
That's a verbal
Yes, I'm
contract,
just-
and I witnessed it.
yeah, well, it will make sense to, I mean, even if he publishes it on his blog, I think the most logical place to publish would be on, our sister place there, Accessible Android, because we're talking about Android. And of course, people come there to ask questions and all of that. And so it makes sense to publish it there so that people will have that guide there. So, Devin, I'm really behind you on this project. I'm glad you're doing it. Because it's going to be a whole lot of help to a lot of people out there. And I know it's not easy to compose or, compile this thing, but no matter how long it takes you, even if it becomes a book, why not? It should be a book, So I say, work on it, even if it takes you longer than that, don't rush it, just get it done. We're patient and waiting for that booklet or whatever it would be. If it's a book, maybe we could sell it and be able to convince a little quiz for you. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But you never know. People sell those things, and but really, seriously, I say, go ahead and do the best you can, and don't rush it. Get it done. We're
Warren,
patient.
would you
I
be able?
just hope.
Would you be
I-
willing to
I just
record the
hope
audio
that,
book version of it?
Oh.
Yeah, I
That'd
probably
be
should
neat.
be able to. Yeah, that would. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. I'll read it. To be honest, so we'll have it.
No,
but
I,
yeah,
just
I
hope
said
that my-
record it. You'd
Yeah.
have to be the voice of it. Yeah.
yeah, no, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'll read it. So, and record
I
it.
just
So
hope
yeah,
that my
Devin, do it.
writing is as good as Kareem's.
No,
No,
I've seen
definitely it
your
will be
writing.
better.
Your writing
It will
is
be
good.
better.
Your writing is good.
No, Korean sets a pretty high standard, I think.
Oh, she does.
Thank you,
I
guys.
love her
Thank you,
writing.
guys. Thank you. But really, I like what you write, Devin. I follow you on Mastodon, and I check all of your messages on the Blind Android users group. And I used to read stuff on your blog, especially. I'm switching back to iOS, and then people would start bashing and like taking things
I mean,
personal.
Kareem, if you really switch to iOS, I have no words to say.
Yeah, no,
you
she's
don't have
not
to think about it.
switching.
I'm not going to. Unless if someone washes my brain or controls it in some way, but other than that, no way.
She's leaving Samsung, but she's not leaving Android.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I wish
I think-
Karen will get the OnePlus 13 though. I think that's your phone, girl.
No, honor. If I am able to get the money, I'm going to buy an Honor.
I'd like to try one of those too. That would be
How is the
interesting.
accessibility on there though? That's my concern.
We're
You
about to
should
find out.
send someone to the minefield, and I'm going to be this person. I think. I hope to be.
Yeah. Someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah, that's right. We got to plow through that.
Salad backed out at the last minute, so someone's got to do it.
Nice.
Yeah, I sometimes regret about this decision, but yeah, it's too late.
You're a Sammy boy, my man. I think Sam has you hooked at the bottom. You can't leave. It's like me in Motel 6. In a Pixel, is Motel California here. I can get out. So you and I are both stuck.
Yeah, even the place where I live is literally called Samsung. So what else I can do?
Ah.
Exactamundo.